Fantastic. Okay. Mutsumi, good to see you again. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. You can see it's always sunshine here, warm weather.
Yes, makes me reminisce about my time in Thailand. It's a beautiful place. Yes. Now, you are at Villa du Lac in Hua Hin, 2.5 hours outside of Bangkok, a place where you do workshops, a place where you do all kinds of interesting things. You see your clients there if you don't travel around the world. Now, you've had a few workshops there, and I'd like to bring you back to a previous topic that we have discussed earlier, and that is shamanism. Um,
Yes,
and I don't know if you've been doing any shamanism workshops in your Villa du Lac, but shamanism has played a very important role in your life and in the history of
yes.
healing, obviously. Um, what is your approach to and feelings about shamanism? Tell us a little bit about that.
We have been doing shamanism. You remember one workshop together with Vanya
Yeah. Yes,
long
yes,
time
yes,
ago.
yes. Yes.
So some shamanism they are emphasize on spiritual animals or
Hmm.
guide. But actually, more I get into the shamanism, more I understand that the spiritual animal is a kind of avatar on yourself in another dimension. So you become the animal and you let the animal guide you to the underground world. Okay. So recently I went back to the study of the holographic universe, which was written by a book by Karl Brian, yeah, and sorry, Karl Pribram is a psychologist and a scientist, and he said that he believe our brain has several dimensions, which is like a holographic universe. So this is very interesting because our body is in 3D, but our
Yeah.
brain is holographic. So I think if we want to explain the shamanism from a scientific point of, it's really that your brand is in a holographic universe. So the brand and the soul is not coming from this three D dimension. Yes,
Shamanism seems to me to be the way that you unblock your filters and you communicate with your own spiritual reality and nature. It's about finding that beautiful balance in between the higher self and Mother Earth, perhaps, or because nature speaks to us. And this is why we talk about spirit animals. Tell me a little bit about men and women in the sense that you are working with them. They need to work through certain issues. They need to heal. How are men and women different in your approach working with them and their approach at to healing?
mm, I think in percentage, 50% of the men they have trauma with their own mother, and
Hmm.
also especially with the abusive energy from the father. Okay, women is more abusive energy from their partners or the mother's anxiety or things like that, and they don't have the same concern. For example, many men who, if they think their mother was abusive, they cut off the connection. But the
Hmm.
women always finding the reason why the mother reacted that way. Maybe because also they became a mother and they will understand better in a position of being a mother. I think that's from men and women.
Yeah.
And the men, for example, if you speak to the father, and the father, they also regret after the father's death that they could have more communications between the father and themselves. But when they face their father, they just cut off the connection. They don't want to communicate. They're able to discuss or to compromise the feeling. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There seems to be an underlying vein of anger in this. And I know that you and we've had discussions before about anger. Sometimes anger can lead to pain, to lead to hurt, but it can also perhaps lift you out of, a slump. And you yourself, you've talked about how anger could, perhaps help or hurt. When you were talking about men cutting off, it's like, enough, right? That's an expression of anger I see. Well, that's how I interpret. Would you tell me a little bit about how you see anger as a tool or as a hindrance, or how can we use it, or how can it get in the way?
We always say that it's a mirror effect. Okay, if somebody triggers your anger because you have already the anger inside of yourself, so you just triggered, or you use that excuse to become your target, and you can vent it out, your anger. So that doesn't mean that the anger is always from the opposite side, but the anger is already embedded in you.
All right.
So how I see the anger, and especially when it comes to the collective anger, it's also because the anger is already inside of you. You have a collective reason to vent it, that anger, to go protest, to go to the wall, to do something. Then the source is the anger inside of you at the first place.
Is it always negative? Because sometimes people have been very hurt and they are angry at other people, sometimes at themselves. Is it always necessary to get rid of the anger in order to heal, would you say?
I don't think you can really get rid of the anger. You can control your anger. You become more objective instead of subjective. I've seen many young people, they carry on anger, and then after they went to Vipassana meditation, or they came to us after the retreat, they can face their anger. They understand that they can control their anger, but you cannot get rid of your anger. It's just the attitude, how you change.
Right. I've heard some artists say that they use their anger to create art. So maybe you can channel it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anything that we should maybe not be so afraid of, but maybe we can make use of instead?
There's so many methods open in the market for people to learn. It's like the emotional freedom technique by typing and breathing, or even you go for the trembling, to evoke the
TRE,
parasympathetic.
yes, trauma releasing exercises. Yeah.
And so there are lots of very useful technique in the past people has already created and promoted. And I really think these are some really useful methods. And also, I have met many young people, they have the ayahuasca experience, and it brings them back to the source. And it was a very revealing experience for them.
Right.
I think it will be open and more. Now it's not only to South America that you can have that experience. I know many centers in America. They offer that. So I
Mm.
think people start to realize there are many ancient methods who help people to release or to face their anger and understand the sources. And it will be in the future and probably kind of medicine to
Right.
reduce your stress and understand what is your sole purpose. I can see that there will be a trend in the future widely open for that. And
Mm.
more and more young people came to see me. They all have that kind of experience and they found it very,
Right.
very eye-opening
Yeah.
and life-changing.
That brings
Yeah.
us back full circle to shamanism again, you know,
Yeah.
like, yes, the original
Yes.
method that was worked out for many, many thousands of years is still
Yes.
valid today, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, I know that you've worked a lot with workshops. You have a lot of individual clients, and I was thinking for those people who come to watch these videos, these interviews, um, what are some questions that you always or that you always get from your clients?
Often they come to see me. They say I'm very stressful. I don't sleep well. I have the impression that I have a depression, or
Mm,
some people that I've been on antidepressant medicine for a long time. I want to get rid of it.
mm.
Uh, some people said that I have a digesting problems, which you know that the guts is another brain. We have the brain, and we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
the gut. So if your guts is not getting enough enzyme and enough balance, then you get depressed easily. So
sure.
most people came to see me because they feel that they're not feeling well. They they're on a turning point and they have decision to make in their life, and they're not happy with the work they're doing right now. They want to find something else, or they are not happy with the relationship they're in. They want to set them free. And mostly people came to see me with all these reasons. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and questions that they ask you before they work with you, what do people usually ask of you?
They want to
Do pe-
know what is the source of their depression or their
Mm,
insomnia. How can they get rid of their IBS, or how can they get rid of skin rashes, or how can they get rid of the repeated mistake of their relationship?
mm.
Yeah, it's repeatedly showing the same mistake in their life, and they know there's a pattern that they have to find the source.
Right. So people have very deeply personal questions. So what is the problem? Where does it come from? And how can I get rid of it? Yeah, that sounds,
Yes.
yeah. So tell me a little bit, what do you have going on now over the next couple of weeks or in your year? Do you have any workshops? Are you traveling anytime soon?
I think it will be mid of March. I'm preparing a sound healing workshop with a beautiful Russian lady, but we're still under preparation. Yeah, I will announce it
Yeah.
uh, uh, next Wednesday. Yeah.
Lovely. Sound healing. And also
Yeah.
you have something going on in Ho Chi Minh, right? So in Vietnam there's
Yes,
something new
but
happening as well.
the center will be finished the renovation only mid of March. So uh, maybe I will go the beginning of April.
So
Yeah.
this is a
So
center
standby.
for, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
you have a few projects going on all over the world. Peru in the summer, you
Yes.
have sound healing workshop, which is going to be in Hua Hin, is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I hope people find you and they can come and enjoy that together with your friend.
Well,
And Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam as well, right?
yes.
Now, we have been discussing a lot of different cases over the last few interviews. There's been
Mhm.
some remarkable things that have happened in people's lives when they've come to see you. And do you have a favorite case, maybe something that you've worked on that you just always remember with fondness?
You know that I love dogs.
Yeah.
Infinity. Yeah, I take care of the dogs, and I, I have 4 of them. So every morning I woke up, they came to kiss me, unconditional love. There's a case which is very moving. It was an Englishman. He quit his family business and he started his own business in Asia. And then in between, he lived in Bali for sabbatic year to think about what he's going to do. And he came to see me in Bangkok, and he said he found that his business it's moving, but he found it very stagnant. He doesn't know why, the reason. Everything is in a good condition, and the opportunity is good, but he didn't feel happy. So what blocks his energy? It's really funny because as long as I put him into the theta healing mode, the first things surface was an old dog wandering around on the beach side. And I
Right.
asked him, I saw an old dog wandering around on the beach side. And he suddenly burst into tears. I said, wow, what's happened to you? He said, I adopted a dog in Bali. He was wandering around on the beach side, and I was probably already over 10 years old. And the moment he wanted to move to Bangkok, and then the vet said he's too old to take the plan. It's better to put him down. So they injected him, and then the dog's message is, where is my owner? Where is my master? I'm so worried about him, and he's gone, and I cannot find him. It was so moving. I was crying also at the same time. And we found out this like unforgotten or love and attachment was his underlying problem, why he couldn't find his full energy. And then we sent the dog to the divine light, and then he also prayed for the dog. And after a few weeks, he came back and he said, can you see my son? Can you, my son is also facing these problems, and then I don't know what to do with my son, but I feel much better. My business is boosting up. I could feel the blessing of the dog. And the son, he bought Korean painting companies, like a distributor, right, to help his son to do the painting distribution in Thailand. I mean, the son doesn't know anything about business. And then we went into the theta healing mode. And the son recorded he was painting in his uncle's garden house. And then he had different pot of pens in different color. And the uncle gave him an old chair, and he brushed the chair, and he's painting the chair one leg blue, one leg red, one leg yellow, and actually he made it as an art piece, and it was remarkably creative, and everybody was very happy with his creation. And then I had the idea, so okay, how he can launch his business as a young person with no experience. So I say, get a bunch of wall painter, street wall painters, and you use your painting and sponsor them and to do the street paintings. And he started, and then the social media really supported, and how he launched his new business. So,
All right.
so that was 2 sessions, one after another, quite remarkable as a result, because the universe really point out what is the strong point inside of them, what is the weak point, and they have to release.
Wow. Right.
Yeah.
And it all
Yeah.
started with the dog, right? Yes.
Yes. The old dog wandering on the beach. Yes.
Very, very good.
Yes.
Now, and that's why we do what we do, you know, working with clients is because it gives great satisfaction to be able to help somebody make the changes that are good for them in their lives, right? And sometimes you're
Yes.
proud of people, right? People that you just met, but you're proud that they managed to pull through, or that they found their way through to change the trajectory of their lives, of course, right? Very,
Right.
very good.
And yes, because as a distributor of the painting, for him it's boring, and he doesn't even know how to start. But his subconscious really show us the right picture of what he was to do. So it
Right.
becomes a lively, vivid, and communicative business, instead of just being a distributor.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you like to tell all the people who've been watching these videos? Is there any words of wisdom, any ideas that you'd like to share, or any questions you'd like to ask them? Anything, any message you'd like to share with internet land, so to speak?
I think we're living in a collective world. You cannot really be a hermit and going for only meditation and find out the truth. And sometimes finding people like me or you, just have one switch point and turning different angles, and then it can change your life. And we wish that we can be that switch point, and then that probably is the purpose why we exist. And sometimes working inside ourselves, as many people say, if you're not happy, meditate. But it's not only meditation, because we are born as a collective beings. We're here for a purpose, and not only for us, but also to serve the others, which is the motto of my Buddhism training, is to help the others, help each other.
Okay. So in terms of viewing the collecting and be aware of the collecting, right?
Yes.
And also perhaps stop living in your head so much and reach out to other people, right? Perhaps it depends on who you are and what you do, obviously.
Right.
Anyway, lovely Mutsumi, it's been a real pleasure to have these conversations with you, and here's to many more. This is where we wrap up today, and anyone can watch this video. This is number 5 in the series. There are 4 previous ones, all between 15 and 25 minutes. And I wish you all the viewers out there in YouTube land land and internet land, that you have a look and listen to what Mutsumi has to share and some of her experience. It's been a real pleasure to have these conversations with you, Mutsumi, and I hope we'll have many
It
more in the future. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me.
was a
Okay.
pleasure.